Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to my channel, JAHAN-E. And today is Friday, a very special day for the kids and very special day for me as well. Because on Friday, I become a student and small babies come to me and teach me. And that is really fantastic. I enjoy a lot. So today, again, I have a mini teacher with me, and the mini teacher is very fond of English language and literature. She studies in Amity International School in grade 5, and she is going to be a storyteller this evening. So not only me, but all my viewers and friends are going to enjoy the story of my teacher. Would you like to meet her? Just wait a minute. May I request Baby Faiha Oruj to kindly join us. Yes, welcome to the show. My mini teacher, how are you?
I am fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So, Sayyida Faiha Oruj is very fond of English. Yes?
Yes.
And your dream destination is London because you want to see Harry Potter's place.
Yes.
And your favorite books are bedtime stories.
Yes, it's my favorite.
All sorts of stories or some particular storybook?
All sort of stories sometimes, or maybe particular sometimes.
So today, my dear teacher, what are you going to teach me?
I will narrate some stories today.
Okay, I'm very fond of stories. You know, when I was small, like you, my grandma used to tell me the stories. But most of the stories were like ghost stories, a
Hmm.
story of jinn, a story of iblis, a story of shaitan and ghost, and those type of stories. I believe that your stories are different.
Yes, it is.
So I'm very much eager to know the story. Please tell me what is the first story you are going to narrate today.
Oh, I will tell you the stories, but I would like to introduce myself first. Hello,
Sure.
everyone. I am Sayyeda Faiharuj, and I will be a storyteller this evening. I have got a bit of cough and cold, so please excuse the occasional sniffing. Stories, the revered author Robert McKee said, storytelling is the most powerful way to put ideas into the world today. Stories are a place where people lose themselves and find themselves. Each story we read or listen has the power to change something within us. Today, I'll share some of the stories that have inspired me and changed me. I will begin with the story of Queen of Sweden, Christina, who gave up her throne to explore the world and live her dream. She was never afraid to express her true self, and that was inspiring to many women of her time. Once upon a time, there was a 6-year-old queen. Her name was Christina, and she had succeeded her father on the throne upon his death. Christina was smart and fiercely independent. Because she had a lot of responsibilities on her shoulders, she knew she had to grow up fast. So she studied philosophy, art, foreign languages, and even ballet to work gracefully as a queen. When Christina turned 18, everyone expected her to marry a suitable man from a noble family, someone to increase her power. But she was in love with one of her ladies in waiting, a young and beautiful woman called Ebba Spear, and she had no interest in marriage. After reigning for 10 years, Christina shocked everyone by giving up the throne and moving to Rome. There, she had a wonderful time making friends with phil- artists, writers, scientists, and musicians from all over Europe. Pope, she realized that she missed being queen, however, and plotted to seize control of the kingdom of Naples. But her plan quickly fell apart. Pope Alexander VII called her a queen without wealth, a Christian without faith, and a woman without shame. And he was right. Christina was never ashamed of showing the world who she really was, even in the face of criticism. She was unconventional and she loved it. Thanks to her free spirit, she became one of the most influential women of her times. In Rome, Christina formed the literary circle that gave rise to the Academy of Arcadia, an institute for literature and philosophy that exists to this day. Christina's motto was, "It is a far greater happiness to obey no one than to rule the whole world." Written by Elena Favilli and Francesco Cavallo. You are muted.
So this is such a lovely story that depicts the women empowerment. And,
Yes.
at that time, she took courage to go against the current. That really makes her a very powerful woman. I like such type of stories where women are shown as very brave and courageous.
Me too. I love how she didn't pick up others' criticism and lived her life as she wanted to.
That's true because if we are going to bother about others' opinions, then we cannot do anything in life. So
Yes,
at times we have to just listen to our hearts, and then we have to do whatever we like to do and whatever we think that it is right. And if you listen to all, you will always be confused. So better we have to just find a path and find a passion and then chase it. The what is the
now I would like to tell a story of wit and patience, how patience and logic can save oneself from doom. The name of the story is The Straw, Coal, and Bean by the Brothers Grimm. An old woman lived in a village. She had gathered a serving of beans and wanted to cook them. So she prepared a fire in her fireplace to make it burn faster, then lit it with a handful of straw. While she was pouring down the into the pot, one of them fell unnoticed to the floor, coming to rest next to a piece of straw. Soon afterward, a glowing coal jumped out of the fireplace and landed next to them. The straw said, "Friends, where do you come from?" The coal answered, "I jumped from the fireplace to my good fortune. If I had not forced my way out, I surely would have died. I would have burned to ash." The bean said, "I too saved my skin. If the old woman had gotten me into the pot, I would have been cooked to mush without mercy, just like my comrades. Would my fate be any better?" said the straw. "The old woman sent all my brothers in the fire and smoke. She grabbed 60 at once and killed them. Fortunately, I slipped through her fingers. Thus, uh, what should we do now?" asked the coal. Because we have so much fortunately escaped death," answered the bean. "I think that we should join together as comrades to prevent some new misfortune from befalling us here. Let us together make our way out to another land." This proposal pleased the other two, and they set forward all together. They soon came to a small brook, and because there was neither a bridge nor a walkway there, they did not they, they did not know how would they get across it. Then the straw had a good idea and said, "I will lay myself across it, and you can walk across me like on a bridge." So the straw stretched himself from one bank to another. Who was a hot-headed fellow, stepped rashly onto the new constructed bridge, but when he got into the middle, he heard the water rushing beneath him. He took fright, stopped, and did not dare to go any any further. Then the straw caught fire, the coal slid after him, hissed, and he fell into the water and gave up the ghost. The bean, who had cautiously stayed behind on the bank, had to laugh at the event. He could not stop, and he laughed so fiercely that he burst. Now, he too would have died, but fortunately, a wandering tailor was there, resting near the brook. Having a compassionate heart, he got out a needle and a thread and sewed the bean back together. The bean thanked him most kindly. However, because he had used black thread, since that time beans have black seam. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Now tell me, ma'am, इस स्टोरी से हमको क्या समझ में आता है? हमें तो कुछ समझ में नहीं आया.
It taught us think and then act instead of being hasty.
Oh, such a lovely message. मैं तो हमेशा जल्दी जल्दी पहले काम कर लेती हूँ फिर सोचती हूँ. That is really a wrong attitude, isn't it?
Yes.
और फिर उसका नुकसान भी उठाना पड़ता है. Now my teacher is going to tell me this story.
Now it's time for a Nasruddin Hoja story. Let me tell you, he is the Birbal of Turkey. Let me warn you, his ideas and wits will never fail if to leave one amused and wondering.
Oh my God, I am so keen to listen because I love Akbar Birbal stories. I have read so many of them.
A beggar was walking along the road of the main market. He had begged a small piece of bread for himself, dry and old, and that was all he had to eat that day, hoping to get something to put on it. He went to a nearby restaurant and begged for a small portion of food, but he was ordered in empty-handed. As he walked out, he stopped to stare at the rich people enjoying the bowls of good savory soup. He leant over one of the cauldrons and that bubbled and hissed the charcoal fire and took a deep breath to savor its good smell. They turned sadly to go. At that moment, the innkeeper came out and seized him up. "Not so fast! You haven't paid!" he exclaimed. "Payment? But I have nothing," stammered the confused beggar. "I was only enjoying the smell of your soup." "Then you must pay for the smell," insisted the innkeeper. "Do you think I cook my soup for a beggar to steal a smell from? I saw you take it." The poor beggar had no money to pay, of course. So the innkeeper dragged him to the Nasruddin Hoja the judge. Hoja listened to the case most carefully, considering both the innkeeper's angry exclamations and the beggar's protest that he had taken nothing. And you say you have no money?" he asked the poor man. "Not a penny," stammered the terrified beggar. Then the Hoja turned to the innkeeper. So you insist on being paid for the smell?" he inquired. "Yes, indeed I do," said the innkeeper. "Then I myself will pay you," said Hoja. He drew some coins out of his pocket, and beckoned the innkeeper closer. The man went eagerly forward. Hoja held the coin in his hand up to the innkeeper's ear and shook his hand gently so the coins ran together. "You may go," he said. The innkeeper said angrily, "But my payment?" "This man took the smell of your soup," said Hoja, "and you have been paid with the sound of the money. Now go on your way." Thank you.
Wow, such a lovely story. And if somebody if we are going to like get this type of people, it's going to be very difficult for us. So, my dear friends, this story was so funny and I liked it very much. If you really like it, then please just let me know that whether you like the story or not. That if somebody is going to charge just to take the smell, how difficult it is going to be for us, how difficult our life is going to be. तब तो हम जब भी रेस्टोरेंट में जाएंगे उसके पास से गुजरेंगे तो मालूम होगा कि वो हमसे चार्ज कर लेंगे कि आप रेस्टोरेंट के पास से जा रहे हो, आप दे दो खाने की खुशबू लिया, पैसे दो, है ना? और कितना मुश्किल हो जाएगा फिर। यही नहीं, देन अतर की दुकान के पास से जाएंगे, परफ्यूम की दुकान के पास से जाएंगे तो परफ्यूम वाला कहेगा कि अब आप पैसे दो, आपने अभी भी जो है मेरी परफ्यूम की खुशबू सूंघी है। तो हाउ डिफिकल्ट इट इज गोइंग टू बी। और कितना अच्छा सबक सिखाया ना, बहुत अच्छा सबक सिखाया कि उसने भी फिर पैसे की सिर्फ आवाज ही सुना दी। बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी थी। अब कौन सी सुनाएंगी मैम आप?
Now I would like to let me tell you another tale of righteousness. The tale of a well-known and widely loved personality, Oprah Winfrey. Her rise to succeed is inspiring and encouraging.
So again we are going to listen to a woman's story, aspiring story of a woman. So
Yes.
today since my teacher and the student both are female, so it seems that we are going to make the show female oriented show where we are going to talk about women empowerment. And I really like this topic very much.
Me too.
Yeah, yes ma'am, go ahead.
Once there was a little girl who interviewed crows. She also interviewed her corncob dolls, and she was so good at reciting from the Bible that people nicknamed her the preacher. Her name was Oprah, and she loved to talk, but her family didn't listen. Her mother brushed her away, saying, "Be quiet, I don't have time for you." Her grandmother never let her cry, even when she beat the girl. "People will think you are weak," she said, but keeping everything bottled inside was unbearable. So Oprah kept looking for opportunities to speak out. She kept looking for people who would listen to what she has to say. First, she joined the public speaking team in high school. Then she took a job at a local radio station, and eventually she joined a Baltimore TV news show as a co-anchor. Her family and friends were excited, but deep inside, Oprah wasn't sure that reporting the news was what she loved the most. She was fired from the show and given a low rated early morning talk show. Oprah thought her career was over. Instead, while interviewing an ice cream seller, she discovered her greatest talent. People started to love the show because she really listened to her guests. If they cried, she felt the sadness. If they were angry, she understood their pain. And if they were happy, she would laugh with them. Oprah became the queen of talk shows. She moved on to the national television, launched her own network, and became a multi-billionaire and one of the most generous philanthropists in history. Oprah's motto was, "You get in life what you have the courage to ask for."
So interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
I like the idea of interviewing the dolls. Now
Yes.
I'm thinking of interviewing the household items, whatever I have, sometimes interviewing a sofa, sometimes interviewing the fan. So interesting is this idea, isn't it?
Yes.
And then interviewing the ice cream sellers, interviewing the vegetable vendors. There are so many people, especially in India, so we find people everywhere. There is no dearth of people on the roads, in the house, outside the house, in this school, outside the school, everywhere. So we can conduct the interviews with them. This is a very bright idea.
Yes. Her empathy and effort are some qualities I would like to perceive.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to meet her as well.
So we have Madam Nargis with us and Iqra Rahman with us, who are listening to the stories along with us. And I think they all, since both of them are also female, so they all must be liking the story of Oprah Winfrey. That is one of the famous personality, and the most liked personality among women, especially. And suppose if I'm going to interview my JAHAN-E Mann, so how is this idea?
This is a nice idea.
So since you like Oprah very much, so I will give you this task to you. That next time on my show, you interview JAHAN-E Mann, the
Okay.
channel.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
So
you.
कुछ और भी है आपके खजाने में या खत्म हो गया?
खत्म हो गया.
So all the stories were very, very moral based stories, and I liked them very much. And the way you have narrated the story was so interesting. I was like captivated. I was just listening and trying to grasp the theme. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
What's your message to my audience? कुछ कहना है आपको उनको?
Uh, I don't know. I hope my story was fine.
Yes, of course it was fine. They liked your stories.
Thank you.
And from where you have like taken this habit of reading the stories, like somewhere in somebody is in your family is your inspirer, or some character in the novel or stories is your inspirer? Who is the inspirer?
Um, no, I don't know that. I don't remember it. I think it was some other. This only stories that I read from my book, the Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls. I like to read those stories. It
Which,
teaches me how, like, about the women that do not give up, and they also teaches who they are. That
okay, that's really good. I think somewhere maybe some teachers' role must be there in inculcating the habit of reading. Because when I
yeah.
was small, I know that my teacher used to uh, motivate me for reading, and I was also very fond of reading.
Mm.
And one story I remember that during the winter days, after dinner, I used to grab one novel in my hand, and then under my blanket or lehaf, whatever I used to wrap myself. So I used to read, start that novel. And when I used to finish the novel, then there used to be azan for the Fajr prayer. So that time I was in grade 8, I remember. I was very fond of reading novels. तो पूरी रात जो है ना वो एक नॉवल शुरू किया खाने के बाद से तो सुबह फजर तक वो नॉवल खत्म कर देती थी. It was like a junoon type of thing. When you are into reading ना, you have that passion. तो फिर आपको चैन नहीं मिलता है ना बगैर पढ़े हुए. Then you like that you should read every day. So that reading habit has given me lots of motivation in life, lots of inspiration, and shown us the path how to move ahead. So I wish you all the best. It was
Thank
really
you.
nice having you in my show, and the story selection was really very good. All the stories were fantastic, and your way was like I must say that like a stream. जो पानी का स्ट्रीम होता है ना वो बहता है बिल्कुल धीमे धीमे और giving us the message of life, how to move and how to be consistent in our life. So it was really having you a fun for me, and you are going to be an asset for the whole, for the entire world, I must say. So keep it up, and thank you very much. Take
Thank you.
care.
Thank
Okay,
you.
then see you next time. See you next time interviewing JAHAN-E Mann.
Okay.
Okay, थैंक यू, टेक केयर एंड थैंक यू नाजरीन जो ये प्रोग्राम देख रहे हैं। इंशाल्लाह आपसे फिर कल मुलाकात होगी 4 बजे। तब तक के लिए अपना ढेर सारा ख्याल